Last week, consumers in 16 places in Bengaluru could shop for grocery and restaurant takeaways through the government's Open Network for Digital Commerce, or the ONDC. Well, they could have done that through JioMart or Amazon or Big Basket. Why ONDC? Well, the relation of ONDC to an Amazon is exactly like the relation of, say, UPI to a Paytm or an Amazon Pay. Because UPI is free and easy, you don't need to pay for other services like, say, Paytm to use their network. Likewise, the government has designed the ONDC as an open network where a small kirana shop, say, may network with his buyer in the next building so that neither is at the mercy of big tech platforms. So, when is India going to get to shop, that is all of India, going to get to shop via the ONDC? I have with me the person who's actually implementing it, T Koshy, the CEO of ONDC, Suresh Sethi, Managing Director and CEO of Protean e-government technologies, and Sanjeev Kumar, co-founder and CEO of Spice Money. Gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us. Well, first up, Mr. Koshy, if you can give us some numbers. It's a week since you are live in Bangalore in 16 places. How many transactions have been done? What's the total value? What's the total number of merchants?
See, the way what we have done for Bangalore is that we have made it open to any buyer to come and place an order for grocery and food items from the merchants available in the network. We have about 6 buyer platforms and 12 seller platforms and 3 logistics platforms already live, with about 500 odd merchants that is there. And we have now announced to the public, and gradually, as to be very honest, on a day, probably about 100 plus transactions are taking place, some days more. And then people are just trying to figure out. The whole idea of this beta testing is enable people to come and test it out and give us feedback on what are the challenges that is being faced. And in the coming week, we have first 1 week, we gave all the buyer platform and seller platforms to get used to this new processes. And coming week, we plan to have some larger outreach. And with that, we expect the numbers to sort of go on more and more together.
Okay. Let me get Sanjeev Kumar in. Sanjeev Kumar, your Spice Money is, I guess, involved as a partner in ONDC. Have you all encountered any glitches? Has it been as smooth as it would be if you were, financing some other platform?
So, hi, Lata. So, Lata, we are right now we are a buyer app integrated with ONDC, and it's early days. Users our network has started to use the app and the platform. We're getting orders, but again, like I tell you, like I'm saying, that this is too early days. This is just more about testing. People are discovering the platform, and the categories are only 2 right now: groceries and F&B. So I think this is only going to pick up with time, as and when more people get used to it, more people start to test this more and more. So that's our experience today. But I think the experience of onboarding with ONDC as a buyer app has been phenomenal, very proactive and very forthcoming. So we've had some really good experiences so far.
Mr. Koshy, let me come back to you. Did you encounter any glitches? Were these 100 transactions smooth?
See, if you look at the transaction has 2 parts. One is the technology part, other is the process part. Technology part's been going pretty smooth, working as expected. And in the process side, like as you would have appreciated, Lata, it's like different merchants, big and small. And they're all getting used to the idea of responding. In fact, many, at least 20-30% of these merchants have never done online transaction at all. So it's about, and there again, as Sanjeev pointed out, the number of transactions for a merchant is only few in a day because it's just starting. So they have to get used to the idea of responding fast, to make sure that fulfillment happens as committed by them and so on and so forth. It's essentially creating a discipline of responding fast is the kind of challenges that we are facing. So we know that we are helping to the merchants, etc., to build up good checklist and respond.
So these merchants have hitherto not been selling on any Big Basket or Amazon. This is the first time they are on a platform.
Many 30-40% of them are like that. Some of them have done some kind of transactions in a limited fashion.
Okay.
So we are getting used to. So we are giving them the checklist. We are also processing, educating them.
Okay.
So this is the journey that we'll have to go through together.
So when do you expect you will be able to cover Bangalore itself?
No, what we plan to do is see, as we explained to you, we're given grocery and food, which are essentially hyper-local. Which means more and more merchants have to be there. You can order food from Chandigarh and get it delivered in there. So we are actively working with the various seller platforms. As of today, we have 12 seller platforms. Another 18 of them are advanced stages of integration. For example, let's say that when somebody like, with a large number of sellers come on board, suddenly you will see more and more places getting visible.
Okay.
And we are also adding more domains. Today we have grocery and food, and we are also adding fashion, home decor, beauty products, electronics, and so on and so forth. You'll see in the next couple of months all of them getting out.
Oh, got that. Okay, Suresh Sethi, you have kind of been there, done that. You have been with open platforms like the NSDL, etc. The big problem I would have as a consumer is, whom do I blame? I mean, who takes my complaints? For instance, in Amazon or Jio, I have shopped crazily and returned goods like almost 60% of the time, and it's taken. I have not, there is a call center, I actually haven't used them. Here, whom would you blame? Whom would I go to?
So I think, Lata, ultimately what you're driving towards is you need to have very strong network policies. So as the market participants, as we call them, the buyers and the sellers, when they are engaging with an open network like this, which is not platform centric in nature, so you don't have a platform owner end to end where the buyers and sellers are sitting on the same application, a strong governance has to be enabled, which means that on one side, the sellers enter into some very clearly and well-defined agreements with the network. Likewise, the buyer applications need to enter into very well-defined agreements. And largely, the play would be also ensuring that there is technology and digital at play to enable the underlying ecosystem of very clearly showing the state of the orders, the delivery, the payment and settlements processes have to be embedded in that. And likewise, the current infrastructure of returns if you don't find the goods in order, if you want to do refunds, the chargeback mechanisms. So a lot of the current capabilities which are existing out there in overall systems and ecosystems, they are being embedded and brought into the ONDC ecosystem. And I think that is clearly an area of focus. And as you rightly said, it is important. It's not just about blame. It is also about building the trust into the ecosystem and to be sure that when I'm doing a transaction, I'm reasonably covered and I'm doing a safe and secure transaction. And that plays at the heart of it.
Mr. Koshy, how does it work? The same question. Whom do I complain to? How do you ensure that goods will be refunded when returned and funded without any leakages when a transaction goes through?
As Suresh explained to you, you as a buyer will go to the buyer platform. So to buy as well as to raise any issue. So the buyer platform also provides for the buyers to raise any issues, whether it is returned, whether it's clarification, and so on and so forth. And the way system is designed, it will immediately will move this request or clarification to the seller platform digitally, because that's how the whole thing is architectured. And the seller, when he gets a response, then he has all the compulsion to respond and take action, because today, the only thing that is sustainable for the seller is the kind of service that he can give. And the network-wide reputation that we are going to, we have already instituted, and it will be published soon once you have some transactions that are coming, will ensure that if he doesn't behave the way that is expected, it will be a big challenge. So without going too much into detail, let me just highlight one point, that we have actually developed a very detailed documentation on the whole process of building trust in the network. And that has been published for public consultation in our website last week. And many people have started going through and giving it feedback. And you're all open to do that. And as of now, the whole checks and balances that has been explained in this consultative paper has been very well acknowledged by the people in the industry and the users.
Okay, no, but what is the short answer? If I return a good, is ONDC responsible for ensuring that my money is funded back? Is the particular platform through which I am going responsible? Who is the call center who picks up?
The call center who picks up is your buyer application, because you cannot be one central sitting on solving the whole problem from the country. The way it is designed, each buyer application is the entity which is responsible for responding to any issues raised by the buyer, and who in turn will give it to the relevant seller or logistics provider and so on and so forth.
Okay. So in that case, would it be that the Amazons and the Geos and the, big baskets come and become clients or become sellers, platforms in ONDC itself? That question after the break, and I think that's a very important question, so stay with us. The ONDC, the government-owned open network for digital commerce, has almost gone live in Bangalore in about 16 places. They're calling it beta testing. And I've been talking to T Koshy of ONDC itself, Suresh Sethi of Protean, EGov Technologies, and Sanjeev Kumar of Spice Money, who are all in a way involved with this process. Gentlemen, thank you for your patience. Mr. Koshy, the big question I asked before the break, and I'm posing to you, if each platform is responsible for ensuring that goods are, funded back when a buyer returns it, do you see an Amazon or a Jio or a Flipkart or any of these guys becoming platforms in ONDC?
Your question is about the existing e-marketplace. And all of them have publicly acknowledged that they have all the serious intention to be a part of the story. It is not just a good intention, but it's also a compulsion that will come to them because of the way the business will evolve. As of now, the Amazon, you would have seen the public announcement that they will join, but they have not started integrating. Same is with the Flipkart. In the case of Flipkart, their e-cart, which is their logistics arm, has already completed integration. And Snapdeal has already the smallest of the big ones have already completed, and in the next week or 10 days, they will also be going live. And same case with Reliance, their logistics platform are the first one who have come in, and they have also expressed their willingness and interest to be a part of this network in the near future.
Okay. There are too many questions coming in, so let me get the most important one out. Mr. Sanjeev Kumar, since you handle a lot of rural fintech customers, how much are you able to pierce the possible illiteracy, financial illiteracy and digital illiteracy? Or rather, let me put it, want of adequate financial and digital literacy. Do you see a kirana store guy in a rural area being able to come in, or say a sari weaver or a basket maker?
So Lata, that's a big opportunity that we are seeing. So let me tell you, today we have onboarded 1 million entrepreneurs who are merchants, right? Who are merchants in these villages and blocks, who solve the problem of basic access to financial services and digital services. And let me tell you, 2/3 of them are below the age of 30, and they're all digital savvy. They have a smartphone and they use our app, right? And our own experience tells us that there is so much of this youth entrepreneurship that is driving rural India, right? And these are the people who are going to adopt to this. They've already adopted to what we are doing, solving the problem of access to banking and financial services, and they're going to do the same for commerce. And that is what we are keen to, be part. How do we play a role here in how can we democratize commerce, primarily in rural India, on both the buyer side and the seller side.
Have you handheld any of them into ONDC itself, or to any of the other platforms?
So Lata, we've not, like we said, this has gone live only in Bangalore in 16 pin code locations today, right? But the opportunity that we are seeing is is deep rural, and that is what we want to go. So once we enter those locations, we will do this. We will handhold these merchants onto both the buyer and the seller app.
Okay. Okay. Well, Mr. Sethi, if you can guide me, there will be viewers who would be interested in knowing. I have a kirana store next door. I want to help that person to get on to ONDC. Will you, who are the companies who will help him with an app or with a hand holding? I think you're on mute.
I'm sorry, it went on mute. So, as you rightly called out, there's digital literacy, financial literacy, there is assisted play out there. So there are quite a few layers to the enablement that we are talking about over here. Technology being definitely one of them, but not the only one. So when we look at it, you talk about your neighborhood kirana store and they want to come on board. There's the entire aspect of understanding where are they in their digital journey. It could be somebody who's never been part of the digital ecosystem. So you need to enable them to that extent. And that is where as technology companies, as technology service providers, the TSP comes into play. Similarly, as you heard Sanjeev mention, there's an assisted play in enabling them, in helping them to come on board, and in training them to use this system. How do you do your catalog management? How do you build your inventory? How do you enter information about your shop goods into the digital system to be able to be discovered at the other end? So there are multiple players, as we see, who are playing out there, who are creating this enablement journey for the neighborhood kirana store. And this neighborhood kirana store, naturally, you are looking at the last mile or the base of the pyramid. And as you go up, you are looking at more sophisticated players who are, again, looking at ONDC becoming a gateway for both discovery, where by only being into the ONDC network, you are able to see multiple buyer apps being able to discover you. So you are democratizing the access from a consumer perspective. And likewise, for a consumer, multiple players coming in will democratize the ability to discover different merchants across the ecosystem.
I got that. I'm just wondering that as and when ONDC comes to my town, Mumbai, my city, what should I tell my kirana fellow? Whom should he go to? Mr. Koshy.
There are already about 12 seller aggregators. Many of them are focusing on kirana stores. For example, I'll just give you one or two examples. It's not anyway endorsing any particular person. For example, there's a company called Go Frugal. Okay, they have been a POS supplier for the small kirana stores, small and big kirana stores, small and medium enterprises. And what they've done is they have now made it ONDC compliant. So they are one of the entities who have brought about 30-40% of the various merchants, kirana stores already which are there. Similarly, when it comes to food products, there is a startup called Growth Falcon who is working with another POS supplier called Pet Puja. Together, they are building many of the stores. So there are already many seller aggregators whose lists are available in our system. Website.
Got it. But I went through your website, Mr. Koshy. How will it look? Now, when I go to an Amazon or a JioMart, there is a box where I search for the products I want. So in your case, there are going to be many platforms. So how will the page look? This is something which everybody in my office wants to know. Will you give us many platforms? Will you give us many locations within each platform?
So first and foremost, Lata, please understand that we are not a platform. Okay. Yeah. But anyway, for convenience sake, we have given the link of all the various buyer platforms. You can just go there and click at that tab. Okay. For example, Paytm may have a certain buyer interface that people are currently used to. My store may have something different. Spice Money has their own way of giving access. So each of those buyer applications, based on the kind of clientele they're dealing, they're developing their own preferences. Lata, I will also send you the link of all 5-6 of them which are currently available, so you can play around and see how it works.
Fair enough, fair enough. Mr. Sanjeev Kumar, the point comes back to me that a lot of why rural India, even urban India, does not have electricity, internet connection. Wouldn't all this, the low-hanging fruit has been captured by the big tech. Do you see the extension being an issue because of these infrastructure issues?
So, Lata, I think it's very different, and I don't agree with this, because when we've been doing this business for the last 3 years, and this network serves about 25 million consumers every month on our platform, Lata. And I'll tell you, in remote parts of the country today, the infrastructure problem is not the way we sitting here in Bombay and Delhi believe. There is electricity, there is a connection, there is Wi-Fi which is working, thanks to Jio. So there is a lot of infrastructure change, and that is the reason why all of this is possible today, Lata. And hence, in my mind, and the way we've been experiencing rural India, this is a huge opportunity for us, given the way from an infrastructure where we are sitting as a country today. So we believe that this can be genuinely extended to rural India, Lata, and I think that's the opportunity.
No, I take your point. Our phones work everywhere. I'm not saying electricity and internet is not available. I'm only saying the reliability, is not there, and the culture is definitely not there. I don't know about Mumbai. I have not encountered this problem, nor have I encountered it in Bangalore to a large extent. But in outside cities, even when you take the cab aggregators, you go to the airport, they tell you, give me a little more because I may not get a client way back. The culture of keeping to the word or the contract is not very widespread. I mean, so there are human infrastructure issues and there are infrastructure issues. Okay, Mr. Koshy, just give us a broad idea. How will things look on 31st December this year and 31st December next year? What may be the coverage?
No, by 31st December, what we will see that it will be, we will have at least 4 or 5 new domains getting added, and few hundreds of seller application, few thousands of merchants already coming live, all sort of trying to push their new idea. And the network effect will start building up, and by next year, this year, we believe that you will start, the hockey stick impact shaping up, and a significant large number of transactions and merchants and consumers coming on board is something that we're expecting. Especially if you look at just adding, one more justification on why this confidence is coming. Most of the large banks, fintechs, and telcos have now seen this an opportunity to be participating in digital commerce because they don't have to worry about getting all the sellers. So all of them are coming into as buyer platform. And now when they come as buyer platform, they are not going to be just making it just for this fun sake. So they are going to take a very active outreach to ensure that their consumer base is benefiting from this broad network. So we expect this kind of push happening on the buyer side. And on the seller side, we are also been working with NABARD, with SIDBI, and with MSME and various state governments to actually educate and enable the small and medium enterprises to take advantage of the digital, the marketplace. So we believe that like we have seen in the case of UPI or the way we saw in the Aadhaar, in 1 or 2 years' time, you would see the kind of adoption that is exploding through the roof. If you remember, Lata, you had the same question when we started UPI 4 or 5 years ago. And we believe that you would see something that is happening at a more accelerated pace because the kind of entities who are going to be actively participating, whether to help the sellers or to buyers, are going to be more broad-based and more committed, and they see more possibilities.
I take your point entirely. I remember in 2013 when we were extolling the virtues of payment banks, somebody told us, what makes you think that they will succeed? There is something called UPI coming, and we never in our wildest dreams thought that payment over UPI or with assisted apps like a Google Pay is going to be so easy. So that is why the expectations from ONDC are very high, and from what you are telling us, it looks like you all are about to deliver. We have many more questions, and we will have many more such sessions. Mr. Koshy, Suresh Sethi and Sanjeev Kumar, thank you very much for whetting our appetite to know more about ONDC and to buy from ONDC sometime soon.